It's like I can't walk on the ceiling. Oh yeah, got me dreaming, dreaming in colors I never dreamed. Oh yeah, I let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Fell in love with my broken pieces, took them all and made them yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed, skipping out, no I can't keep scoring. I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Oh, magic. No, I'm never letting go. Now that I have it with you. When you kiss me, it's like the stars fall out the sky onto my heart to cover up what I don't wanna show. I let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Fell in love with my broken pieces, took them all and made them yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed, skipping out, no I can't keep scoring. I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Oh, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, yeah, you take me higher, baby.
Welcome to Radical Truth, the Power of Progressive News Show with Let's Be S3. I am your host, Marlon, along with Theas. And as you can see on today's show, we will be discussing little tidbits of Donald Trump's first 100 days in his second term in office. We will also go ahead and get into the second hour with Am I the A-Hole Mafia video of the week, positive story of the week, and Foxy's videos of the week. Should be a relatively short show because it's basically the only thing that I can find on it is the polling for Trump's approval rate, followed by a returning Kamala Harris, excuse me, a returning Kamala Harris in her speech, and thoughts from Morning Joe on the situation we have right now. Pretty much that's all I got. Hey, Diaz.
Hey, bro. How you doing, man?
Doing good. Let me take you down for 1 second.
Hey, Anna.
Hello.
Hello.
How's everybody doing today?
Doing all right?
I am wonderful. I spent the day an afternoon at a park with my nephew, my brother, and my mom, and we discovered there's this gorgeous creek that was running at the most beautiful speed. So we had water going in the background. We had wind going through the trees with birds singing above us, seabirds. And it, one of those things, it felt magical. It was simple and humbling. It was the most beautiful gift that I possibly could have been given for today. My family, nature, and then you guys. More family.
I forgot to say something.
Oh.
I really did. I forgot again to wish my lovely wife and I a happy anniversary, 21 years. So again, happy anniversary, 21 years.
21 years.
Hey?
Happy anniversary.
We went. It was Thursday. We went on anniversary date Saturday.
Okay. Happy anniversary to both of you.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we went to the movies and we looked at Sinners and went out to dinner. Well, lunch dinner. Just rolled around till it was time to come home. But got anything, Theas? No. How'd it go yesterday?
It was fine. I went and picked up my baby and brought her back home. It was cool.
No problems. Okay, good. Susan is here. I almost forgot to wish my oldest son happy birthday. I've been buried in laundry sometime, literally, but that's no excuse.
Happy
birthday,
baby.
Happy birthday. And you're all here, lovely. Yeah, I was saying that. I didn't realize I accidentally been off the air for 2 weeks. I didn't mean that to happen. I thought I was gonna stick another show in there, but I got sick. Not something really bad. I was just, for some reason, just exhausted. And then that come to the realization that the 2 weeks that I was off, I was ripping and running every day for the last 2 weekends, to the point where my body just gave out. And I tried to come on that Sunday, and I'm just like, let me see what number is talking about. One of my shows I'm binge watching now. So, but we are back. Thank you, Susan. Happy anniversary, Foxy and Marlon. Thank you very much. 21 years. I don't even remember. I didn't even want to get married to anybody, not to Foxy. I want y'all to take it that way. And 21 years later, here I am. Well, too late to get out of it now. Let's get this party started. Let's go ahead and get everything out of the way. Let's go ahead and look at the Trump polling after the first 100 days in office of his second term.
Tomorrow marks 100 days for Trump in office, and he is ringing that in with some very low marks. Let's go through some of them, starting with a new ABC News Washington Post poll, which finds just that 39% of Americans approve of the way Trump is doing his job. That's compared to 55% who disapprove. Back in February, mind you, those numbers were 45% positive and 53% negative. Trump's approval rating in this poll is lower than any past president at the 100-day mark of their first or second term. So this is historically low for President Trump. According to the Washington Post, Trump has seen a decline of 10 points among white people without a college degree, who, of course, are a key part of his political coalition. Trump's also down 13 points among adults who are under the age of 30. The Post also notes that Trump is underwater among independents, a group that he just narrowly lost back in November. Among that voting bloc, 33% approve of his job handling, while 58% disapprove. Let's dive into the issues now. Some of the top ones. More than 3 out of 4 voters oppose reducing federal funding for medical research. 7 in 10 oppose the administration's efforts to increase the government's role in how private universities operate. 2/3 of voters oppose Trump's efforts to end birthright citizenship. And more than 6 in 10 oppose shutting down the education department, cutting back environmental regulations, and freezing foreign aid that provides food and health care to poor countries. Those are all, of course, we've seen major parts of the first 100 days. But overall, voters said they trust Trump more than Democrats in Congress when it comes to handling the country's main problems. When it comes to the economy, Trump's approval stands at 39% versus who approve versus 61% who disapprove. Just 2 months ago, before announcing his sweeping tariff policy, 45% approved, while 53% disapproved. It's worth noting that President Biden's economic approval rating was 37% about a year ago. Another poll finds that President Trump is underwater as he approaches his 100th day in office. According to the latest New York Times Siena College poll, 42% of voters approve of the job Trump is doing, while 54% disapprove. Those numbers are even more troubling among independents. Just 29% approve, while 66% disapprove. Looking at specific issues in this poll, the president's pursuit of widespread tariffs is opposed to 55% of voters and 63% of independents. Trump's also underwater on the issues of immigration, managing the federal government, the economy, trade, the Russia-Ukraine war, and the case involving Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
Okay, so across the board, disapproval on his handling of different situations, different topics, the tariffs, of course, across the board on Democrats, Republicans, and independents. It's a disapproval.
Disapproval.
Disapproval. They don't like you, Trump. My question, though, is the people who do approve of it. And I think I saw a comment from Susan. There are still 39, was it, who approved? Yeah. My question is it, do we still have people out there who are just uninformed, informed but don't care?
Sorry, I saw something.
I hope so.
Bro, I'm gonna interrupt you. I made a similar point, I think, last night. Like, the questions you're asking are like presenting this as though the people who support him are somehow mistaken. It's like you still are giving these people the benefit of the doubt, and I don't understand why. I don't understand. I don't understand why people are still giving these people the benefit. Why are people so desperate to believe that these people are different than exactly what they say they are and what they've proven themselves to be? Like, what is it inside of you and other people that, and there's a lot of people like you, that is like, it seems like there's a piece that is just clinging to this thing that what we're seeing isn't what we're seeing. And then the other thing, and this is bigger than any of that, this entire thing that they did on MSNBC, and they're doing on other things too, but they're covering this like this is a normal thing. Like, they're like, well, Biden was here and then he is here. That's no. That's not a valid comparison. And then who are these people you're polling? And then on top of that, all the way through the election cycle and any other poll you want to look at for the last like 6 years, Trump has about 30 to 35% of any polling that they do that supports him. You will always have that number. And then I was watching some of the numbers that they were using. In one case, it would add up to 98%, when the other one, it would add up to like 87%. So you're not even measuring the same things. You're literally manipulating the people who are watching this. You know, that's my. I'm sorry.
Let me answer your question though, because Parker, both uninformed and informed and don't care.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Exactly.
there are people who just, and I'm not giving them an out because I have a segue into it. They are uninformed and don't care to be informed because their guy won.
It's not even that, dude. Really, I'm saying scratch a little bit deeper. It's not that their guy won. A lot of them know that this guy is not going to deliver anything for them. Their obsession is that the other people lost. You know, it's, you know, and so then you have to look, and this is where I know people have a hard time. You actually have to look at the situation for what it is. You have to look at the history and how the history informs the present, and the present will inform the future. And it's been uninterrupted for the most part for 400 years, 300 years, 260 years. This man is about to, what do you call it? Oversee or preside over the 200 and something odd anniversary of America. This guy. Okay. So, because next year is like some anniversary for us, you know. But these people are not mistaken. These people are not uninformed. These people are none of these things. They are very intentionally doing what they're doing. And until we just stop trying to make babies out of grown people, we'll never start to address the real issues. We'll never start to actually get at the class issues. We'll never actually start getting at how economics actually run in this country that informs all of this. We'll never actually get at all the corruption that's happening in this administration. We'll never get at the fact that it doesn't matter what his polls are. He is deporting people without due process. Full stop. Like, we can't get there because we're too busy comparing him to Biden and comparing him to Obama. They're like completely irrelevant comparisons.
Okay, but let's scratch a little deeper, this. Let's go a little deeper. And I'm going to kick in too. Why though? I mean, you're saying they're getting what they knew they was getting because the other person lost. And my question to you is why?
Because
why would you systematically, and I hate to beat a dead horse, I really do, but why the hell do you know a bullet is coming and you still stand there and let it hit you and now cry, "Oh, I got hit"?
Because that's not what's happening. Like, that's the impact of what's happening, but that's not how it came to be. This is all about grievance. All the way around. It's all about grievance. It's all like Black people, mostly, Native Americans even more so. And then you just start playing with all the different color zones up until you hit white, are in different stages of recognizing that the American dream is a lie. The problem that America is really dealing with right now is white America, working class white America. The people that we have made the definition of the identity of being an American are realizing that the American dream is a lie to them too. And they're reacting to that. They're not doing this because they hate Black people. There are some people who hate Black people, but that's not why they're doing this. They are mad at this country. They are mad at the fact that they had 100% privilege, and that privilege said that my son and my daughter had an opportunity to inherit what I have and do more than what I did. And they're latching onto the easy grievances that are being fed to them, instead of saying the reason why this is because the world continues to evolve and history doesn't go backwards and time doesn't go backwards. So as more people are able to participate and make the pie bigger, your slice will get smaller, but it's still going to feed you. They're not being told that. What they're being told is these other people, the reason why your piece is smaller is because they're taking it from you.
Yep.
Right. And they're not front of mind in many cases thinking through that. They're emotionally attaching to it, and they're saying, I can't hate myself, I can't blame myself, I can't hate my country, I can't blame my country, so what can I blame and what can I hate? And that would have to be what this man says I can hate and I can blame. And that is what they're doing. And it happened with the white people. That's the biggest group that it's happening with, because they're the most disillusioned. They're the most disillusioned in the freshness of it. Right? The rest of us are largely numb. Look at how the pain scale is moving. White people are losing their ever-loving minds. They're at war with their family members. They're at war with their jobs. They're at war with the libs. They're at war with everything. They're abandoning their churches. They're doing all of these things because the pain is most intense to them because it's new. But when you move down that ladder, the Latinos, they were kind of like, well, maybe it's just the wrong kind of Latino, right? Because the pain is more set in for them, but it's not as old. So they have a certain level of, well, maybe there's this and maybe it's that. And they're where we were in the 50s, right? You just behave right, then maybe you too can get this thing. And then you notice the black people. Black people are still kind of pretty much, yo, this ain't our problem. We're sitting back. Mainly because we're so disillusioned and it's so old to us that we don't need to react to it. We're literally victims of the trauma to the extent that we don't think the trauma is going to go away anyway. So why would we engage with it? And then you got the Native Americans. I don't know what's happening with them because no one bothers to ask them. So it's like, I think I have zero hope that any of this is going to get worked out, because to do that would take a type of politics that this nation doesn't want. Right? It's not even that the nation isn't capable of it. It truly doesn't want it. Right? Because if it really wanted it, it would have to literally destroy itself. It would have to look at itself and say, everything that we do is not conducive to the type of world that we need. And nothing in human history, and especially European history, has been able to say that about itself. Because you lose your identity the moment you do that to yourself. So instead, here we go. America is going to continue circling the,
So Anna.
Yeah.
Does it, rhetorical question, I just want to hear your voice. Why did it have to take this much? And I mean, we've all agreed on this panel. We're not even at the worst part yet. We're not even at the worst part. But why did it have to take all the way to the bad part, the bad things, the tariffs and everything else? Why did it have to get this bad for people to start?
People had to feel the squeeze for themselves. People had to actually wake up, come to the realization that, oh, this is going to hit me. This is going to hit me in ways that I'm going to start sounding like a prepper who, get your water, because the things that he is doing to destabilize the electric grid, the water grid, these things are starting to lap up around everybody's toes, let's say. They have their reports coming in that their farms are going to be bankrupt. if something doesn't give. People's businesses are going to go under if something doesn't give. And it's all about this wannabe dictator's ego. He wants countries from around the world to talk to him and make that deal.
And
He
Anna,
me-
let me well real quick. I want to play this next video because it speaks to what you're speaking about now.
Okie dokie.
And I'm gonna play the video. I'm coming right back to you, so you can give your thoughts.
Gotcha.
But let's look at the tariffs and how it's affected at least 2 businesses.
Today marks 100 days of President Trump's second term, and the latest ABC Washington Post poll shows the president with just a 39% job approval rating, and on one key issue, the economy.
Yeah, according to the data, the American public is broadly unhappy. ABC's Alex Prochet reports from Washington with the latest.
President Donald Trump traveling to Michigan today, expected to offer some tariff relief to automakers as his policy is taking a toll on the industry. An administration official tells ABC News the 25% tariff on finished foreign-made cars and parts will remain. But today's announcement would prevent tariffs from stacking on top of other tariffs he's imposed, such as steel and aluminum.
President Trump has had meetings with both domestic and foreign auto producers, and he's committed to bringing back auto production to the U.S. So we want to give the automakers a path to do that quickly, efficiently, and create as many jobs as possible.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt in the White House briefing room today touting the president's economic moves in his first 100 days in office. But polling shows most Americans feel differently. The latest from ABC News Washington Post Ipsos shows that 73% say the economy is in bad shape, 53% saying it's gotten worse since he took office, and 72% say it's very or somewhat likely that Trump's economic policies will cause a recession. And today, there are reports that Amazon is planning to display tariff costs next to each item on its site, and the White House isn't happy about it.
So it was reported this morning that Amazon will soon display a little number next to the price of each product that shows how much the Trump tariffs are adding to the cost of each product. So isn't that a perfect crystal clear demonstration that it's the American consumer and not China who is going to have to pay for these policies?
I will take this since I just got off the phone with the president about Amazon's announcement. This is a hostile and political act by Amazon.
And Amazon today telling ABC News that its ultra low-cost store called Amazon Haul considered posting import charges, but that never made it to the main Amazon site, nor has it been implemented across any Amazon site.
Yeah, so the big baby cried. You can't show people what I've been telling them isn't a thing. And Amazon pulled that. They're not doing that anymore. They're not going to show what is going to be owed through these tariffs. For the most part, I would say regular America, not MAGA America, is well aware by now what a tariff is, who pays for it, and which way it goes through the economic supply chain. And why are people caring now? Because it's touching them now. They couldn't muster an ounce of empathy until it's hurting them. And it's like, I'm honestly in a place where I exist in 2 different go modes. One is getting ready to leave. 2 is getting ready to fight. I did go out to a protest with my mom and my dad, my dog. We went to a place 10 minutes down the road, and for a Thursday afternoon, there was over 100 people in my sleepy little town. People are waking up and angry at what is happening. Nobody thought USAID was going to get dismantled. Nobody thought the whole safety structure that we have built for senior citizens, for disabled, was going to be put in such perilous danger. Some people can go, oh, those poor kids, and go, yeah, they should have medical coverage. And you know what? Fine, start there. If you're willing to fight fascism, okay. Because we have so many different things that people want to address right now. No. We have one issue. The regime that is in office, and there are people who are putting together all of the steps. We are talking to people who did stand up to fascist dictators in our lifetime. And they are finding out, what are the steps that we have to go through? Because that was the main question. Everybody is like, but what do we do? Starting to hold back your money is a huge do. Boycotting, finding out which companies in your town supply whatever, what side are you on, kind of thing. Because right now, I can't have any of my money going to the right. There are people who are putting together a resistance, and this resistance is growing at breakneck speeds. I have mentioned Indivisible, Move On. There are so many things you can look up. And this is this is me talking to my cousins. Because I don't presume to know where you guys are at, what you guys should do. I do know where my cousins have been. I do know where they're just not looking. They think they don't have the time. I have 3 kids. I have this. I have that. I don't. We are looking at a time where being born in the U.S. doesn't mean anything. I am a first generation from my mom's side. We were we weren't sure whether we were going to live in Canada or the U.S. We went back and forth, back and forth. I don't know where I stand legally. These thoughts, like the SAVE Act, the women are going to have to get passports, prove that, hey, this, even though it's a married name, I am the same person as who is named on my birth certificate. I am an American citizen. The laws that they are pushing through are draconian. They are, cruelty is the point, okay? Cruelty is the point. And there are some people that get off on this. They love seeing people like you and me suffer. And they will take a little bit of hurt themselves, no, not too much, but they will take it if it means we're gonna go down. They will laugh going down with the ship.
All right, so I'm
I
saying,
need somebody else to go in. Yeah.
well,
Well, let me ask you this question, Theo.
Hmm.
I'm gonna throw it back to you.
no, go for it.
So with this said, and being a protective mode, because we already talked about we're gonna protect ourselves, our family, our people, and everything else. Are we now at a point where preserving everything that we said we was gonna preserve, just let it burn? We can't fix it where it's at now. At least that's the presumption I'm getting. So should we just let it burn and rebuild from there?
Okay. So what the problem with the question that you pose, should we let it burn? It's a couple of things in that, right? So first of all, that implies a level of agency and authority you don't have. Let it burn. You can't stop it. So I agree with Anna that resistance is absolutely critical. Whatever your form of resistance is, you need to resist it. Just understand that ultimately you're kind of gonna lose. But you can either go out on your feet or go out on your knees. So that's kind of where we are. So when you say, should we let it burn? What can we do to stop it? Right. Anna pointed out about fascist government and how they've been resisted. Which ones have lost? Other than North Korea's attempt that failed almost immediately because they responded in a way that America refused to. So you got to get it early.
Yeah.
Right. So
and we're almost running out of time.
Right. America's been on this path for 45, 50 years. So when you say, should we let it burn? I think, and I get the question because it's a question that's asked a lot.
Yeah.
But I think that still points towards the delusion that we impose upon ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. Like the black ethos right now saying, well, we're resting. You're resting. What are you going to do when you stop resting? What agency do you have? Oh, well, we're just going to stop spending our dollars. Okay. More than 95% of your dollars come from the very people that you plan to be resisting. Your dollars stop when they stop. Now tell me about your buying power now. Right? These are hard things to talk to people about because it undermines the energy of resistance. And I get that. But I'm just saying, if you're going to resist, you need to look at the reality of the situation and the probabilities of the outcomes. Things get worse when they're not addressed. It's kind of like if you break your arm, if you wait long enough, like the whole time heals all wounds, if you wait long enough, your arm will try to heal itself. but it will do so in a bad way. It'll be weaker. It'll be painful. It'll be misshapen. It'll be all of those things. That is America. America broke its arm and it just let time run. To heal properly takes effort, it takes expertise, and it takes dedication to the long run. That's why you go to the doctor resets it, and then they wrap it, and then they monitor it, and then you go to physical therapy, right?
Yep.
That is healing.
Yep.
So should we let it burn? We don't have a choice. What we can do now, because what we have to do is what all humanity has done and humanity will always try to do, is you can try to find a coping mechanism. If you're able to get out of this country and you can afford to live away from here, I suggest you should do that. If you cannot do that, or you choose that it's much more important that you stay here and you fight for that which you believe in and you love, then I suggest you do that. But in either case, face what it is.
Yep.
You know, this administration, okay, right now people keep saying we're against fascism. That is far too nebulous. Far, far too nebulous. Because the people who don't even know what nebulous means definitely don't know what fascism means. And if they understand what fascism means, they don't know what fascism means to them. Fascism takes its time. Fascism picks its enemies, and it weakens the systems and it weakens the controls so that even when you do mount your resistance, you lack the strength. You know, this is part of the double-edged sword of that. And this is me talking to my brothers and sisters out there. This is a double-edged sword of what we as a collective have chosen to do. And I call it a trauma response. I really do. We're not resting, we're hiding. We have learned the lesson. And we're trying to market us learning the lesson as though it's an act of bravery, but in fact, it's not. It's an act of defeat. We know if we go to that rally, what's going to happen to us. We know. We talk about it openly all the time. Even our so-called allies know. And that's why many of them don't even encourage us to come. They ask why we're not there, but they don't really want us there because they know what will happen. I say, keep resting if you want to. Here's what's going to happen. When they get done doing what they're doing to the immigrant community, they're coming for our children. They're not, this isn't a threat. This isn't a scare tactic. I'm promising you. I'm downright promising you they're coming for us. They're not forgetting we're here. It's just not our turn. Okay? So let it burn? No, it's burning, bro. What we can do is decide what are some of the mechanisms we can put in place so that as many of us as possible that survive this can be part of the community that rebuilds. Because when this all burns down, something has to grow out of those ashes. Something has to.
Yeah.
And
there will be a post-Trump era.
There will be. There will be a post-MAGA era. There will be because this is white lash.
Mm-hmm.
And white lash happens roughly every 60 to 80 years, like clockwork. And when this is over, when this phase is over, white America is going to feel really, really bad. And they're going to go into a new form of reconstruction. They're going to try to make amends to the Hispanic community. They're going to try to make amends to the Black community. They're going to try to repair their image to the global community. Same thing Germany did, same thing, it's going to happen, but there's going to be so few of us left is one problem. And then two, that reconstruction period will also be short because it's built on guilt.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with guilt is it makes you work hard while you feel guilty and then feel resentful after you've felt guilty because now you resent being made to feel guilty, which is why right now, that's what you hear from MAGA and the people who support MAGA. They resent being told that they should feel guilty And that's why it was an overplay when everybody was saying that it was so bad to be a white male. Yeah. Let that one sink in. So this is just where we're at, family. This is where we're at. And the only thing that can stop what's happening with the administration is the administration. This administration is less evil than it is corrupt. So if you can satiate their need for corruption, they will reduce their cruelty. But the problem with being greedy is there's no real, can't really fill that hole. So the cruelty has to be turned up because it's how you keep the resistance from getting too loud. So I'm sorry, long answer to what you said, but yo, bro, this is where we at.
And there are points where the American public was so outraged and people kept bringing up Abrego Garcia. It was never meant to be that the senator guy was going to meet him. There was so much public outcry that at the last minute, they tried to propagandize a little meeting.
But here's the thing, Anna. That meeting, what that senator did, matters.
Yes, that's what I'm...
But how much? That man is still in El Salvador.
Yes.
They're still deporting people. They're still ignoring what the judges say. They're still doing the crackdowns. The police have just got an executive order passed that gives them more leniency in how they deal with the public. So it matters. I don't want to ever take away from the fact that it matters. But that man is still going to perish behind all of this.
He's still locked up in a concentration camp. Yes.
And he ain't coming back.
It matters.
And even if he does, no, that was my whole statement. Sorry.
Why all of a sudden do I hear crickets? Like, what just happened?
I was waiting for him to...
She was waiting for the conclusion of the statement, even if it does.
Even if he does, I don't think he would come back at the level that he left.
No. I'm not even saying that. I am saying that these small victories are important symbolically, but in substance, they truly don't mean much because let's play it out. This man came to America seeking asylum. He did what he was supposed to do. He was seeking asylum from El Salvador.
Mm-hmm.
So the one place on the planet this man should not be sent to is El Salvador.
Yep.
Now, he is sent there. He is just one of a couple hundred.
Yep.
He's sent there. Huge uproar. Democrats use it as a messaging moment to moderate success, but overall, they're still lacking. They allowed the Republican machine, they allowed the MAGA machine to make it about the man. Because no matter how much they keep saying, no, it's about the process, it's about the process. I'm sorry, the American public, especially the ones you're trying to convince, they think you're talking about the man. So let's say,
and some of them are still voting to confirm his people. You know, there are people in Congress who really do not understand the assignment of today.
They do understand the assignment. That's the problem. We don't understand the assignment that they're taking, right? We keep operating on what's right and wrong. And when you hear a U.S. senator tell you that she is afraid for her life, she's just the one who said it out loud. And we know that this is the penalty of going up against this. These people have tried to take people out, right?
Yep.
So Remember, it was only because Romney is so filthy rich that he was able to get security for his whole giant family. And he realized he was spending so much money, he couldn't keep this up. And so he got quiet. Now, if you got less money, how loud you going to stay? By the time the police get to you, what's going to happen? It's already too late. This is the reality that these people are in. They were already cowards when they got there. They were already crooks when they got there. But now their lives are literally being threatened. They're getting phone calls. They're getting messages. They're getting letters. These people know where they live. They're being doxxed. All of these things. On a human level, it is not easy to then still say, I'm going to oppose this, when everyone you've watched oppose it gets crushed. And then once they get crushed and they get kicked out of Congress, the American public, they don't rally around these people. They don't help protect these people. They forget about these people. But you know who doesn't forget about these people? The people who wanted to hurt them to begin with. Mm-hmm. This is the reality. Mm-hmm. So politicians, they may eventually get where people think they need to go, but when they finally get there, many of the levers of power they need to pull on will already be dismantled. So then it comes back to what's about the people. Yes, it's always about the people, but our options are getting really slim. Because if the courts aren't going to help you, law enforcement ain't going to help you, military is being turned against you, there's only one option for you. And it's the absolute worst option for anyone. Hate to be doom and gloom, y'all, but literally actions have consequences and time moves. We are where we are. Now, how do we fight out of it? I haven't figured that one out yet. But I will say this, I'm a mild study of history. We were touching on a moment ago that they have to be touched by it. They have to feel the pain. They have to, right? These things, right? But look at how magical the messaging is. Somehow, for those on that side of the ledger, the economy crashing is still Biden's fault. So even when they lose their jobs and they lose their farms and they lose their trucking companies and they lose their businesses and they lose their retirement and they lose, they'll blame Biden. They'll blame liberals. It doesn't matter what's true. It matters what they choose to believe. And so we look at history. 1932, I think, is when the Great Depression was like kicking off and getting really bad. What did it take to get us out of that? War. And then when we came out of that, what happened? We still had Jim Crow. Right? So this isn't going to turn into a Cinderella story, folks. It is not. The human condition is pretty bad. But what can we do to make the best out of this dark situation? And that's, I think, where the energy has to go.
All right, everybody. Let me go ahead and get to the last video. Then I'm going to come to you, Anna, with your thoughts. Kamala Harris coming out for a little bit to make a speech. I literally tried to find the whole speech and I couldn't, but here's a little tidbit of Kamala Harris's speech, along with some comments at the end from Joe of Morning Joe.
The courage of Americans who are banding together in the face of the greatest man-made economic crisis in modern presidential history. Americans across the political spectrum who are declaring that the president's reckless tariffs hurt workers and families by raising the cost of everyday essentials, devastate the retirement accounts that people spent a lifetime paying into, and paralyze American businesses, large and small, forcing them to lay off people, to stop hiring or pause investment decisions.
Kamala Harris gives a speech, and a bunch of right-wing media outlets go crazy over it. I just for the record, I mean, it's hard data. When Kamala Harris and Joe Biden left the White House, over the past year, we'd had the strongest dollar in 50 years. We had the strongest economy we've ever had relative to the rest of the world, at least since 1945, the United States did. We had record low jobless rates over a period of time. We had, again, for the very people that were calling her and Joe Biden socialists and Marxists, who have now seen their portfolios smashed. We had the strongest stock market, strongest Dow, strongest NASDAQ, strongest S&P markets in history. In history. And there were people, as we said, throughout the campaign that would be calling Biden and Harris socialists and Marxists who were driving their Maseratis to their country clubs with their "Don't Tread on Me" license tags, going out playing 18 holes of golf, and coming back looking at their phone and seeing that the stock market had just made them another $1 million. Like, these are not serious people. They're really not. They voted against their own interest. Why? Don't know, but they certainly. We always talk about working class people voting against their own interests. Well, the richest of the rich voted against their own interests too, and they're paying for it every single day.
They can pay for it. And they don't care about the rest. Look, we all have to come to grips with the fact that the next couple of years is going to be economically hard. You better look into starting a garden. The things that we have long time wanted and have had at our fingertips because of delivery, it's not going to be that easy. It's not going to be that easy for a long, long time. Yeah, you'll still be able to get those deliveries. There's going to be some significant downtime, and there's going to be significant increase in payment. And we're going to get to a point where some of us just cannot afford some of the things that we used to. So it is time to look and take stock of what is important enough to you that you would buy some, like with coffee, with water, cleaning supplies, with household, there's, get ready. Get ready for a time of scarcity. Do not hoard. Please do not hoard. And try to be in touch with your neighbors to find out if they need something. This is a time where we are it's going to hurt all of us. But some of us are dedicated to helping. There are incredible community organizations that are being made right now. every week, Indivisible has seen over 100 groups forming. And that's thousands of people that join the weekly calls, that get the daily emails, things that keep them informed and motivated in a way that makes them feel like things aren't hopeless. I can at least grab on to this assignment and move forward. You know, we all have to find out what this assignment is for ourselves.
I agree with what you just said, Anna. Because I know a lot of what I was saying sounds really dark because the situation is dark. The lights are out, folks. It's nighttime. But you still have to work even when it's dark.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So to me, what Anna just described is coping, right? When we look at the history books of Nazi Germany, and we always focus on the evil party, right? Because that's the loudest part. That's the most evil aspect of the thing, right? But everybody in Germany was not on board. They may have had to be silent. They may have had to move differently. They might have had to do a couple different things. They might have tried to hide just to kind of survive the moment. Which, you know, all of those things are going to be the same coping mechanisms that we go through here. So just
people
like
organize hiding spaces in their
right?
homes, you know?
Exactly. They had to get really creative. You look back at the American story, when you go through slavery, we created it, the Underground Railroad. We had the Green Book, right? If you go and look through it, humanity will always try to find a way to survive.
Yes. Yep.
Right? Just like any other animal.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I think the fight's already done. Like, but you still have to fight. Like, you're in the ring, right? So I know it sounds kind of weird to say that ultimately you're gonna lose, but the thing is, this has to burn itself out. But you can still be a firefighter and try to save people from the burning house. You can still, every life you save, every life you help is worth it, each and every one of them. So, like, this is just me tongue in cheek. Anna was saying, don't hoard. Here's my case, and I think you might agree with me for why you should hoard.
I'll listen.
All right. If you have first of all, at this point, you're late.
Yes.
At this point, you're late. But if you have the financial wherewithal to buy up a lot of water, buy up a lot of toilet tissue, buy up a lot of hand sanitizer, buy up potting soil, buy up, if you have the wherewithal to do those things and somewhere to store it, I say do it. And but on one condition. You're doing it to create a form of a food pantry or storehouse that will be employed to help people. Because a lot of people can't afford to go.
Isn't that caveat then making it not hoarding, though?
It is hoarding, because at the end of the day, I went into the store and I bought 20 packs of toilet tissue. Whether I did it for a good reason or a selfish reason, to the next person who couldn't get some toilet tissue, I'm hoarding. Because I didn't have to buy that much, right? I'm in a retail space purchasing at the end of the line, because retail is at the end of the line. I am purchasing, and everything I take is something someone else can't take, which is why we were saying don't hoard, right? That's the case for not hoarding, right? Because at a certain point, you cross over from preparing for the worst to endangering someone else.
Yes.
Right. But if you're doing it for, like we were saying, right, you're going to.
Unless you are communally minded.
Exactly. It's still do it with some reason, right? Don't go in and buy the whole shelf. Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say, though. It is, don't make it harder for the people next to you.
Well, yeah, to an extent. I mean, in my view, if what you're doing is community
Right
minded,
Yeah.
you're basically creating a free grocery store because you have the ability to do it. You could just not do that. You could just get what you need for yourself, so you're not depriving the next person. It's like to me, your intent does matter here.
Yeah.
You know, if you buying 12 packs of toilet tissue because you're afraid that 3 months from now you won't be able to comfortably wipe your behind, that's selfish. If you buying all that toilet tissue because you know that your little brother, your cousin, one of the elders at the church, somebody up the street that you know that every once in a while you've given them your hand-me-down toys and hand-me-down clothes, so you want to make sure that, hey, when you don't have, you can come to me, and if I have it, you get it, right? Those types of things are super important. I'm just saying that that's another side of the thing, and like I said, it's tongue in cheek, right? Because I am play on what's happening. But I think that's important. I really do. Like, for example, I haven't brought it up to you. I might have. No, I told you, Marlon, because you're in a different chat than I'm in. But like, one of the things that I'm working on, and this is an individual project, but there's an elder that was instrumental in my youth, and now he's much older. So I'm going to connect with him. It's one of the only reasons I can stomach going to church. I'm going to go connect with him, and I'm going to see how I can be of service to him. Do you have a utility bill? Do you have an expense that I can shoulder with my discretionary income? Right? Because what's going to happen now are you're going to have people who can't get to their medication, or their medication's going to cost more and they're not going to have the money, or transportation issues are going to, there's so many things that are going to come up, right? But if you have discretionary income where you could lose it, hey, Susan, we will definitely get there, right? I've already planned for it. I got a whole pack of rags and everything. Man, I ain't playing with y'all. But look, because COVID taught me some stuff. I don't know if it taught anybody else anything, but
that's the thing. We should be taking the lessons that we were given.
Yeah, but
okay.
Instead of staying on that story I was telling, forget that. What I was getting at is, if you're in a position to help somebody, help them. That's what I was getting at. But I like this parallel that hit me. Anna was talking about how scarcity is about to kick in and all of the things, right? I think that's a justice moment, right? America has been able to pay bottom dollar, and our convenience has come at the cost of other people's survival. Right? So these depressed wages in Taiwan and China and India and all that was funding our convenience. And now, because of what's happening, their standard of living is about to come up some and ours is about to come down. That's justice.
That's all right.
Right. And it's going to hurt and it's going to destroy a lot of people. But watch this. This is exactly what many of us are saying white people are supposed to do in America. All right. White people in America have been privileged. They've had the most, out of this nation. And the reason they could do it is because they were taking from all the people below them. Right. They were able to pay you less in wages. They were able to keep you out of certain jobs. They were able to mess with your medical care. They were able to do all these different things. We as a nation have been doing the exact same thing to other nations. This is justice. This is what justice looks like. In a manner of speaking, Trump is an instrument of justice. He is literally the medicine that America has to take. It's sad to think of it, but literally he, in his own way, is bringing account for stuff that we've been getting away with.
Backwards kind of way, but yeah.
I mean, think about it. I mean, America has been abusing China.
Yes.
Right? So Trump, in his own way, is making things better for China. He has cut off their pathway to us because we're a convenience thing, but we were still like 14% of what they sell. So now they're just going to go find other markets. That's justice.
Yes, it is.
Right? The part that's unjust is that he's cruel and he's corrupt.
Yes.
But it kind of takes a cruel and a corrupt person to do this. A person who believes in the norms and the status quo wouldn't do this. A person who believes in doing something right and something real, like Dr. West, like Bernie Sanders, like AOC, they can talk that noise. But if they ever got behind the resolute desk, guess what? They couldn't do most of the things that they say they want to do because they care about people hurting. And all those great things we want, universal health care, is going to hurt a lot of people. It's going to help a lot of people. It's going to hurt a lot of people. And when you care about people, it's really hard to pull that lever. But when you're a sociopath, not so bad. So it's a dark way to view it, but I think it's valid. Sorry, Marlon, you haven't had the chance to say anything.
In a way.
Oh, that was on purpose. That was literally on purpose. I've come to the conclusion that I have two of some of the brightest minds on this show. So this was just an experiment to see if I could just keep my mouth shut and let Anna and Theas talk more. And I was right. Theas is more logical, more analytical. Anna is more spiritual, in touch with the people, in touch with the emotions of American people, especially the ones that's hurting. So let them two shine. And I sit back just like the audience and I absorb all of it. And I become smarter and wiser and a better person. So yeah, it was on purpose that I kept my mouth shut. No. Thank you both.
Yo, it's crazy with all of that. That was only 1 hour.
Was it? Yeah.
Well,
didn't it feel like it was forever?
It felt longer. Yeah.
All right, let me get to these last two comments before we go on into the second hour. Both of them by Tracy. Hey, Marlon, happy anniversary. Thank you. Take the balloons down. Nope. The balloons will come down when it loses air, whatever that is. My wife got me these balloons, and I am not taking them down anytime soon. Also, I'm sick of hearing this corny joke every year. May the 4th be with you.
Okay.
It's like Merry Christmas. You just gotta take this the season.
Today is May the 4th. May the Force. May the 4th.
Right.
It sucks.
It's Star Wars Day.
It's Star Wars Day. Yeah.
The one that doesn't make sense to me is a Smoker's Day. Was it April 20th?
Did you say what?
What's that day? It's the weed smokers day.
420.
420. There we go. I knew it was April something. And look, I'm even saying it wrong. It's called 420, and I'm sitting there. It's April.
Oh, good.
What is the day of the weed? There is a day of the weed. What is?
Where we commune around the weed. Yes.
May the 5th be with the Sith.
There's a reach, but it's cool.
Everybody will get their day. And happy Lyme Disease Awareness Month.
Yes.
Yes.
Far more important than Star Wars. Just
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
Star Wars gave us Jar Jar Bing or whatever his name is.
Not a tall
Binks.
hurdle.
Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
And yeah, I never understood that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get into the second hour. How do you want to do
Okay, good, yay.
Hell, we're gonna go ahead and get into the second hour with the Am I the A-hole, a mafia video of the week, a positive story of the week, and of course Foxy's video of the week. 3-minute break to reboot and refresh, and we'll see everybody on the other side. Stay tuned.
Living for weekends, wishing I could take a break from this world. Running on a hamster wheel, but searching for something I can't feel. I just wanna be a lost girl and fly. Take a breath, feel my wings spread, levitate above the ground and make eye contact with clouds. Now I'm rising, I'm soaring above it all. I just wanna be free, finally, I wanna be free, I wanna be free, finally, I wanna be free, I always stay dreaming, never imagine I lose my spark. Living in this crazy time, putting back the pieces of my mind. I know how to run from the dark and fly. Take a breath, feel my wings spread, levitate into the clouds. I'm so high above the ground. I'm rising, I'm soaring above it all. I just wanna be free, finally, I wanna be free, I wanna be free, finally, I wanna be free, higher to a bird. You, I'm rising, I'm soaring above it all. I just wanna be free, I wanna be free, I wanna be free, I wanna be free,
We are back, and without further ado, let's go ahead and pay those bills. Please do not forget to go to patreon.com/Tracy Media Fan. Help support Tracy and all of her endeavors. Please do not forget to go to Anna Hart's website, BorelliEtc.com. Learn something that you didn't think you need to know, but you should. Please do not forget to go to Theater's website, OurUnitedCore.com. Communities build movements. And if you need to reach me, you can do so at radtp@outlook.com. That's RADTP@outlook.com. And let's go ahead and get into the Mama Heart Hour. Get some of these comments out of the way real quick. Still can't believe Marlon has never seen Star Wars. I'm not a space person. It's so confusing to me. The only space movie I really ever seen was Spaceballs. that literally, I've never seen a Star Wars
Well,
movie. I tried to see
then
a Star.
you've seen the parody of Star Wars. You're good.
Yeah, I
No,
got
that
the.
means he didn't appreciate it. You cannot appreciate I'm sorry. You can't
Spaceballs.
appreciate Spaceballs if you've never watched Star Wars.
Yeah.
You can enjoy how funny the movie is, but you're missing like
90% of the
like I had
point.
never at the time that I first watched Spaceballs, I had never seen the movie Aliens or Alien. I think it's truly called Alien.
Really? Well, I had seen the part it was spoofing off of.
Right.
Yeah, I've seen the Aliens. At this point, he won't watch it out of principle. I'm just not a space person. Just
Wow, there's a theist in the audience and there's a theist up here.
yeah, I know.
Check it out.
A shame because that means he could never appreciate the beauty of Spaceballs. And I can.
I agree with that guy.
Oh dear.
You would like it, Marlon. I can't, and I'm gonna tell you why. I cannot get myself into the concept of a galaxy far, far away. It's sort of like, okay, let me put it to you this way. It's sort of like Star Trek. I got
flag on the play. Flag on the play. You can't compare Star Wars and Star Trek. Flag on the play. Two different sides of the world. We don't do this.
Two sides of what world?
It's just you can't do it. It's just Crips and Bloods. You can't. No.
Anyway, since it was me.
But you can't conceive of something that does actually exist, which is a planet in a galaxy far, far away?
Yeah. I can believe in that. I just can't believe just all the groups and the wars and
you must be. First of all, that's not Star Wars. You just said the wars.
Here and this group was created because this group failed, and you're the leader. No, you're not. Yes, I am. I am now. No, you're not.
Marlon.
Yes, I am.
Marlon, you follow politics.
So now you're the leader. I can't do this.
Marlon, you follow politics. This is politics in space.
Yeah.
Right. No. I have enough of this here. I don't need it out there.
There are good guys and bad guys, and it's pretty easy to tell who is who.
Okay. Have any of y'all
never wear the red shirt?
Have any of y'all seen the TV show Numbers?
I'm sorry?
I've heard of it, but no, I ain't watched that.
Number? No.
I've been to that, and I don't understand what the hell the dude is talking about. But I like the concept of how he puts it together to weed a solution to a problem. Basically, Anna, all it really is two brothers who one brother was a genius since 4 years old and grew up and went to Harvard, Princeton, something. One of Ivy League schools when he was 12 years old. He literally graduated with his older brother, who was 5 years older than him. That's the background in it. Now his brother is in charge of a FBI bureau. And he uses his smart, genius brother to use math to put together statistics and analytics. And
so basically, he used his privilege and his family connections to get his little brother a job.
No, his brother was already had a job. He was a professor at Cal State.
Oh, he needed his help. So who wouldn't use an incredible tool in their belt?
Yeah, he's using but now he's getting a paycheck from the FBI as well. I mean, there could have been someone else, may not be a genius, but that's somebody who didn't get a job because you gave it to your little brother.
Technically, this is how smart the dude is. He's getting a paycheck from the college, the FBI, and the NSA because he's also a consultant with the NSA.
Right. You call that smart, and there's a definite angle that is smart. I also say that that's nepotism. And I say that, you know what? That's Elon Musk before he became the Elon Musk we know of today.
Come on, we watch wrestling and watch unrealistic things all the time, LOL.
And Susan's comment is dead on.
But Molly, you live on Earth. Right. I live here.
We are on a planet in a galaxy far, far away, Marlon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me know when we discover another planet that
We got
is
plenty of
inhabited.
them. There's plenty of planets we discovered
That's
them.
inhabited. I knew what I was saying first. That's inhabited.
We don't know if it's inhabited because it's far, far away.
It's too. They're too far away for us to get to.
Yeah, we
With
can't
our
see that
current
level of detail.
technology.
Yeah.
And that's true too, Parker. I was not into astrology. Astronomy, I can't do space things. I don't.
But you can watch cartoons.
I haven't watched a cartoon in years now, so really.
No, I mean when we were younger, because we've
when
had
we were
cartoon
younger,
discussions. You know, I love cartoons. I still watch cartoons.
But I didn't even watch like
still.
Battlestar Galactica and
I didn't watch that.
Flash Gordon and stuff like that. I never cared.
You know, Superman came from space, right?
Yeah, but he's here on Earth.
But he came from a galaxy far, far away.
But he's here on Earth. We
Yes,
knew about
but he came from a galaxy far, far away.
And he told us here on Earth.
And then, like the Green Lantern dude, he goes into space all the time.
Well, technically, he's the police of the galaxy, but yes.
And the Vision Cat, he ain't from here.
I'll trust.
And it's like, let's get to the real stuff because this is out there.
Just like out of space. Am I the a-hole? Speaking of nepotism, so you did bring that subject up.
Wow.
I think
Nice
I created a statement, a phrase. I don't know if it'll stick or not, but I'll tell everybody what it is after the video.
Like groceries? Because Trump created that word.
What?
Y'all didn't hear that? Never mind. Joke fell flat because no one else heard.
I couldn't quite hear what you said.
Because Marlon was saying he created a phrase. And Trump was talking like he created the term groceries.
Oh. Yeah.
It's okay. I tried. I failed. It wasn't funny. It's okay.
I just didn't hear you. Sorry.
I wish I did.
But I know what you're saying now. And yeah. Okay.
Helping my kids out.
I have two kids from a previous marriage, 14 and 17. Both are highly involved in the community theater. We live in a small town, and honestly, money and donations take a lot here. My kids love getting lead roles, but neither are very good actors. However, I learned a few years ago, if I make a decent donation to the community theater they attend, the kids tend to get the roles they want, and therefore kids are happy. My wife was also a theater kid and has remarked she's shocked how often my kids get leading roles when it seems there's other kids clearly better suited for certain roles. You don't say. Not thinking it would be a problem, I told my wife that I've been making donations to the theater with an unspoken understanding that my kids get the roles they want in the upcoming productions. It comes out of my fund money and doesn't affect my joint finances, so no impact on my wife's money. This somehow pissed my wife off, who said my kids are not only unfairly getting the roles, the kids who work hard at their auditions are getting effed over because of me and not getting the same chances as my kids. She then said my kids don't deserve a lot of their roles and I'm setting them up to fail by creating an unrealistic expectation. She's mostly upset because she feels me and the theater have been grossly unfair to the other kids. I see it as it's just a community theater thing. It's not a big deal. None of these kids have that much talent and none are future Broadway or movie stars. Yeah, many thanks to you. My kids are happy, and in the long run, it's not hurting anyone. My wife is currently refusing to speak to me until I promise to stop bribing my kids' way into roles they didn't earn. Am I the asshole?
Okay, so let me say this real quick, bro. I kept my mouth shut the first half. I ain't keeping my mouth shut the second half. Let me say something to you real quick. You said three things. It's just community theater. These kids don't have that much talent. And it's not like they're going to be in the movies or on Broadway. So what's the big deal? You're right. So let me ask you this question. If you feel that way, why the fuck are you paying your kids to always get the leading role? Oh, because it is a big deal to your kids. That's what you mean. It's not a big deal that you screwed over other people's kids. The phrase I came up with is financial nepotism. I couldn't pinpoint exactly where I was going to use that from, and now we're going right back to movies.
Is that nepotism?
I put it.
That was just some Brett Favre action right there, man.
Do y'all remember the movie Back to School?
Yeah, Rodney Dangerfield. Yeah.
Number one, that did not age well.
No.
I saw it the other night. It did not age well. Because number two, I forgot how he got back into college or how bad it was for him to get back into college, because I didn't know that the character didn't have any transcripts, didn't even have a high school diploma or a GED.
But he had money.
How did he get back in? Oh, that's where the business school building fund come from. He gave the school enough money to build a business section.
That's called merit.
Yeah. You're gonna keep paying your kids to get better roles in life.
Yeah.
Your kids is gonna about to be about as dumb as a bucket of rocks.
But they're gonna live good.
Until the reality comes crashing down on them when daddy can't pay for things.
Perhaps, but by then they already have the money.
No. He
You
has
think
enough
he would
money.
continue on and like take this in and just say, okay, so I deserve to be treated the best. How much money do you need? Like, what lesson do they take out of this?
The children don't need to take a lesson. See, this is the difference between hardworking, typical Joe Schmo making it through and people of wealth and connections. It's the same thing. So I'm showing my children that if you know the right people and you help people achieve their objectives, they'll help you achieve yours. I'm telling you exactly how they think about it. So the theater needs funding. It's hard for the theater to get funding. I'm giving them money. And because I'm giving them money, they understand that I would reward the person who is helping me. And the best way to reward them is to give their children a role. Because it's just community theater, right? Fast forward in life. Kid wants to go to college. Dad went to Harvard. We're going to use a legacy system.
Right.
Right? Same thing. Right? Dad paid this money to the school, helped us with by paying his tuition, and then he turned around and he's one of our alumni and he gives money to the school every year. If I want him to keep giving money to this school, I should probably help get his kid into this school.
But this particular thing seems to be like something that someone on more of a poor end of a spectrum could achieve. I could give the church a few bucks so that my kids get chosen or whatever the organization.
It absolutely happens. I'm glad you pointed out church. It absolutely happens at church.
Does it really?
Yes. If you go to a small church and your family is one of the founding families, or you go to a larger church and your child is the pastor's son or the pastor's daughter, guess who gets snacks when other kids don't get snacks? Guess who gets a pass when their behavior isn't quite right? Guess who gets a leave in the Christmas play? You know what I'm saying? It's like it happens. It doesn't always have to be about the money. It's about the power position of privilege.
Okay, yeah.
So I don't see anything wrong with what Dad's doing under this system. And then, like, because I remember when I was younger, I used to talk about in the world of sports, right? We would say,
Except that the chance that he is taking away from the other children.
well, what did he take from them?
The chance of a free and fair competition for a role. Maybe somebody else wanted that role just as much as that little girl or boy did.
And they just learned a valuable lesson that just because you want something really bad and you actually are talented enough to be able to do that thing, that doesn't mean you get to have the opportunity. Opportunity walks, what is it? Talent walks in the shadow of opportunity. You must first have the opportunity before anyone get a chance to see your talent. This is a life lesson, especially if you're working class. Look in your corporate structure. The people who are in management positions, by and large, they did not come up the ladder. They came in at a shortcut because they knew somebody or they're connected to somebody or they went to the right school. And then their career starts from there. Your career started somewhere else. This is literally life. It's not fair, but then again, what is fair?
True.
Right? Why do you work so hard to accumulate wealth and build a business and do all these things? And you want a really nice house because you want your family to enjoy having nice things. And then why would you want your child, if you have been able to build a business and you are worth $2 million, $3 million, why would you want your child to go work at McDonald's? No, you're going to let your child work for you. And then you're going to put them on a fast track if you're responsible. And you're going to have them start at the lower level and the middle level and a high level, but they're going to do it in rapid fashion so that they can soon become one of the owners and leaders of your business. This is life. This dad is literally teaching his children a distorted thing, but it's a thing that'll probably serve them a lot better than make sure that you clock in on time.
But he's still taking away from the other kids, even if they're learning a life lesson.
Yes, he is. And when you go to the grocery store and you buy a bottle of juice, you have just taken away someone else's opportunity to have that bottle of juice. Welcome to life.
That analogy don't work with it.
That's not a fair.
Other bottles of juice.
Crossover.
This is a local little play. He said it even in his own little thing. So where he offended his wife is that he has transgressed against the passion and the appreciation of art. Right? She believes in the spirit of honing your craft and believing in what you do and being able to have that opportunity to showcase your passion to an audience. She believes in that. And that's, to me, very similar to a working class person who believes in work ethic, who believes in showing up and clocking in on time and always giving your best, even when you're not rewarded. All these things transfer, y'all. It's like, where are you playing on this field? And you're right. The juice analogy was a stretch, but it's still saying you wanted something, somebody else got it. And what you going to do? Should they not have the juice because you want the juice? Why are you more entitled to it?
There are other juices on the shelf and they're going to get restocked.
But this goes to our conversation about the toilet tissue and hoarding and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it's more about scale or perspective than it is about the actuality of it.
Yeah, Tracy, that's
you know what I'm gonna do? Do we not know of actors and actresses that really aren't that good, but their mommy or their daddy or their uncle or their aunt? Just saying.
Yeah.
Brandy probably never would have got an opportunity if she wasn't Dionne Warwick's niece.
I get that. I get that it happens.
Hannah Montana. Miley Cyrus has at best average talent, but she is the daughter of Billy Ray Cyrus. And Billy Ray Cyrus was a phenomenal musical performer. And he used his prowess to get his daughter a show. And then from that show, Miley Cyrus went on to be an actor and a singer, both of just barely average skills.
Careful. There are a lot of people that love her.
That's fine, but I'm just saying that doesn't change the fact that she's average, right? So she had the opportunity, but would she have, can we honestly say that she would have had the opportunity to be as successful as she is if not for her father being Billy Ray Cyrus? That's why Disney gave her the contract. There are a lot of little kids who wanted it more.
Sure. Yes.
So it's just, I mean, we can push against the realities of life all we want to, but I'm saying
it's just in this father is asking, did I do something wrong? And in this, Marlon and I do seem to be saying that, yeah, you took something away from other kids.
Okay. Let me put it to you this way, because I get what this.
No, I understand exactly what you guys are saying.
I get what this is saying. I get it. I understand it. Really.
Yeah, me too.
We live it every day. You're still fucking wrong, dude. You're still fucking wrong. I'm sorry. You're wrong. If I believe in my kids enough that they have merit to get that top tier leader role, cool beans. I will help you. I will get you acting coaches. I have the money to get you acting coaches so you can work your way up to getting that lead role. But I am not fit to be the person that's going to screw over somebody else for my own damn kids.
What you just described is effectively the same thing. He just took a shortcut to it.
No way the same thing at all, because I'm saying you earn it. I am giving you something more than the other people is. I am not also saying, but that's also telling my kids, but you still have to work for it. That acting,
the kid's still acting. The kid's still acting.
Not in the leadership. That's what he's paying for, leader roles. He's not
but
paying
the child to the child. The child is acting. Where the manipulation is happening is at the parental level. So you have a parent who manipulates the system because I have the financial wherewithal to give my child coaching and acting classes and lessons. And then you have up against another parent whose child just is really passionate about acting, but you can't afford to put them in lessons. So now that child who does not have the benefit of a coach and a tutor is going to go up against the child who's just passionate, right?
Okay, let me reverse it. Let me reverse it. Okay,
this is fun for me.
It is to me too. Let me reverse.
But I'll stop now because I've monopolized enough of this.
So would you say it's still fair that this dad went out and got an acting coach for his kids? And they're just not really, it's a whole sentence. Stop, don't interrupt yet. And they're just not that good. They're average at best, even with a coach. So if somebody comes to you and there's another kid who is just freaking phenomenal, they got all the talent to burn. Like there is no role they're not going to be the lead in comedy, serious, period, nothing. And the father comes and goes, well, that's unfair because they are very talented and my kids was working really hard with a coach. So why should they not get a chance to be in the lead role?
Okay, so first, they would never couch it that way. So what you just described is I'm just saying. I get what you're saying. First of all, the child who has all that amazing talent, that's your concrete rose. Okay? So hopefully they get a chance to shine through, but there are many concrete roses who really just get trampled down and they never get a chance to be appreciated for their beauty and their grace or what have you. So hopefully this child shines through. That other parent who was able to pay for a coach and things like that, the way they would come across it is they would do what this dad did. They'd find another angle. Hey, what do you guys need? Right? That's what this dad did. This dad was like, hey, what do you need? I'm not telling you to make my child the star. Like, he never said he specifically asked for it.
No, he literally said in the story was
He said that was the agreement that.
Oh, okay. I took it from an inference. But either way,
Anna,
it's the way the world works. It's not right, but I'm saying unless you're going to change everything.
Agreement. It's an unspoken agreement.
Thank you. Unspoken agreement means I scratch your back, you scratch mine. I don't ever have to say.
How else are you going to scratch? I mean, this
is how it works, Anna, honestly. Like, this is like, I don't know if you guys watch Big Bang Theory, but Sheldon threw a fit one time because Penny gave him a gift. Okay. And he was upset because when you gave him a gift, you have now created a new contractual arrangement where I must now return the effort by giving you a gift. If I don't, then I am not fulfilling my end of the friendship of showing appreciation. Like, it was this whole thing, right? Like, you forced this into my world. So if I come to you and you have a small business and I come to you and say, hey, I really believe in what you're doing. My kids love to eat here. I'm gonna slide $1,000 every month to you just to help your business thrive. When my kid comes up there looking for a job, I don't have to say to you, you remember all that money I gave you? No, you're going to recognize me as a person who is now giving you like $10,000. And my kid who wants to come here and work in this location, guess what? He's going to get a little bit of an edge. Now, there may be that concrete rose that outshines my kid and he gets the job. Okay. Next time you have a job, though, I bet my son gets that one. This is how business works. I mean, literally everybody out there, you guys know that. I'm not saying that it's right, but I'm saying that that's what it is. Right? This is what it is. We don't exist in a free market.
Hey, Foxy.
Yes.
You text, I will for sure promote my kids.
Absolutely.
What do you mean?
I will give them any advantages that they could possibly, that I can, to have a head start.
That's why we work so hard. That's why when LeBron James took his son with C-level talent and got him into the Lakers, I didn't bat an eye. Because you know what? We navigate spaces day in, day out. We work in corporations. We work in jobs. We do everything we can. And we get passed over just because somebody else knew somebody. So when you're finally in a position to do that for your own children, even if it's little league soccer or if it's getting them a job at JP Morgan, people are going to do what they do to protect their children. And this circles it back to the whole political thing we were talking about earlier about people voting against their best interests and stuff like that. First of all, did you take the time to ask these people what their best interests are? Or did you assign to them what you think their best interests are? Because if I believe my best interest is making sure that my son will never starve, my son will never go hungry, then I will do whatever I have to do to make sure my child is not the one going hungry. That's the reality of it.
Mm-hmm. And hey, Afra.
Hey, Afra.
Hey.
You missed a good one. That was a good one. Still sucks balls, but it was still a good one. Mafia.
I really think that's important. And I'll say this real quick. I just think it's really important, folks. Whatever it is that you believe in, don't stop at what you believe in. Challenge what you believe in, challenge how it can be broken, challenge how it can be opposed, challenge all of those things, because that is how you can move your belief into actually coming into fruition. If you stop at just your belief, you will be defeated by another person who has different motivations. That's it.
Mafia video of the week. lady I've been watching for a while now. I was watching her during the pandemic, and I fell off, and then I just rediscovered her. Not that I discovered her in the first place, but just seeing her again. Her name is EJ. She's a comedian, and she has this character. So much reminds me of the character my sister-in-law plays, Sister Frida, where she plays the mama or the grandmom, and it was always the old-fashioned mom against certain things. Mom versus Thanksgiving, mom versus shopping, mom versus Mother's Day, so on and so forth. So this is her YouTube channel is EJ Speaking, if anybody wants to look at it. But this is mom versus school mornings.
All right, now this is my third time coming in here. It's time to get up. Come on, I don't want you running late. Okay, you taking your time like you got a backup plan if you miss the bus. No, you don't. So that's what you wearing to school today. Okay, all the money we spent, all the clothes we just bought, wear your new clothes. Okay, go put on something new. Not something I done washed 94 times. Don't know. When you get home today, you gonna clean up that room. That room is a mess. Have you brushed your teeth? Okay, come here, let me smell your breath. Come here. If you done brushed your teeth, honey, let me smell it. Then go brush them. Boy, if you missed that school bus, what all you got in that backpack? Why it look so stuffed? What are you taking to school every day? Don't call me asking me to bring you no lunch, okay? Come in here. Get yourself set up real good. Snacks, chips, Hot Pocket, whatever you need, come in here and get it. Do you ever see Miss Shannon's son at school? Do you talk to him? You need to. He makes straight A's. He don't never get in trouble. That's who you need to be friends with. Okay, what you mean you tired? All you got to do is go to bed when I tell you to. Go to bed at night and you won't be so tired in the morning. And you know what? Long as you be having your phone in your hand, you're never tired. Long as you're on TikTok, you got all the energy in the world. Then when somebody take your phone, I can't make it. I'm just so tired. I'm just so tired. I'm just so tired. Go up to that school and act like you got some sense. Because if one teacher called me, I mean just one, when you get to that school, don't go and find your friends. Go to the cafeteria. Get you a breakfast so you'll be all right. Because every time you come through that door in the afternoon, you just act like you hadn't ate in 3 weeks. But it's because you're not eating at school because you're doing all of this. You're doing all of this when you need to be doing this right here. Put you a little biscuit in your stomach. Get on that bus and sit down. Don't you get that bus driver a hard time. What's going on to where every time I say something, you say something? And I know if you do me like that, you doing them teachers like that. Learn to shut your mouth. And you say you didn't have no homework. Okay. Son, please hurry up. You know that bus driver come whenever he want to. He be 10 minutes before or 10 minutes after. But either way, regardless of what time the bus come, you gonna be on it. Turn around. Okay, brush your hair some more on the sides. Unless you mean for it to look like that. That's how you want it to look? Hey, do you, boo? Okay, son, that's enough cologne. You got my whole house smelling passionate and vulnerable. I don't want that. It's too early for that. It is 7:03 a.m., son. 7:03 a.m. is too much. Baby, where you going with that hoodie on? It's 94 degrees outside. Are you crazy? Go to school and learn something, son. You smart. Apply yourself. Okay, why would you throw your backpack down if you know the Chromebook is in there? I'm not buying another Chromebook this year. Do you have Chromebook money? Make sure you put on some deodorant, because yesterday, I don't believe you swiped nothing up under your arm. I don't believe you did. I don't believe so. Where you come in here smelling yesterday afternoon, I don't believe you put nothing up under your arm. Go do some extra swipes today.
That is such a mixture of my mom and my grandmother. like it was so scary. The only thing that was different is go in the refrigerator and pack you a lunch and everything. Like, no, that's your after school food. You better go eat at school. The number 2 thing was stop talking with your friends and go in the cafeteria and get you something to eat and stuff like that. My friends was in the cafeteria, so I was automatically going to the cafeteria anyway to eat breakfast and lunch. We did grow up a little poor, so you better eat. Just saying. Reduce free lunch and reduce lunch. Yeah, we were going to eat. You best believe that. So I knew as soon as I got off that bus, I wasn't going out into the field and talk to my friends and everything. I went straight to the cafeteria. Yo, what's going on with them sausage and eggs right there? Cool. Go ahead and pile that on for me real quick. Yeah, you can mush your face all you want to. I ain't going hungry because you don't like that food. Eat what I can eat, bro. Anna?
I did not grow up with a mother like that. It was funny. I honestly have no idea what to say here.
Well, I can relate to almost all of those statements. I've either made them or been told them on some level. And it might have came from my mama, might have came from my daddy. But I know most of those, I've had those conversations with my kids. You know, so yeah, it's my favorite one though is like, you know what happens when your parent, mainly your mother, it's usually your mother or your aunt, and she'll say, "Do you, boo?" Once you hear that one, now you gonna be so dug in at this point, you're not really listening. But when the consequence hits, you will hear, "Oh yeah, she did say." Because "do you, boo" means, hey, hands off.
I do remember the bus. Like, woo. Like, anybody who don't understand free lunch and reduced lunch, when you at a certain economic bracket, the school will automatically reduce the cost of your breakfast and your lunch. Now, here is my punishment for not going to school. I mean, missing the school bus. Sorry, missing the school bus. I'm still going to school. I'm just a 9-10-year-old kid getting on the city bus because the elementary school was relatively downtown. So I missed the school bus. I'm getting on that city bus and getting to school. Guess what I was using to pay for that bus? Right. My breakfast or lunch money. But I was going to school.
You know what's funny for me? My wife picks at me about this. Yeah, I grew up bougie, I guess. Like, first of all, I was an Army kid, right? So I did not eat school lunch. I wasn't eating school breakfast. I wasn't eating school lunch. If anything, when I was at school, I'm gonna hustle for fries, right? I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, you know what I'm saying? I don't even like this pizza, man. Give me your fries, I'll give you my pizza. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was kind of like how I moved. Or I would sell candy and stuff like that. But I know looking back at it, I was extremely spoiled, right? My father and my mother, well, my father mostly grew up poor. My my mom was a step above that, still poor, but you couldn't tell it by comparing the two of them together. But because of them, and this is what part of the thing I was saying earlier, because of them, they started at level 1 and level 2. I started at level 3, level 4. So this is what a family who starts at 7 or 8, they do for their kids. They put their kids on at 9 or 10. That's literally kind of like what you're supposed to do in a way. But yeah, I ain't had no school lunch. Wasn't eating it. Not gonna happen. And then I remember I lived in Germany. I was in elementary school, 3rd grade. This is another way that Germany has us beat so bad. My school bus would come at whatever time it was supposed to come. But I would wait for my mom and my dad to leave for work. And then I would pop some popcorn and I would make me some sweet tea and I would sit down and I would watch Zoobly Zoo. And the thing about Zoobly Zoo is it came on at the time, or it was still on at the time that my bus comes to pick me up. So I would never catch the school bus. I would finish watching Zoobly Zoo, and then I would go down to the city bus stop. And in Germany, if you're a kid, you don't pay to ride the bus. So I would catch the city bus, and it would take me right to my school.
Smart.
My parents didn't know I did that till I was in my 30s.
Dang, Marlon, that is rough.
How did they react when they learned?
Just laughed.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Statute of limitations had run.
Right. Parker, if there was ever a reward that I was going to get in elementary school, and I'm pretty sure I didn't get it all the way through the 6th grade, but relatively sure I got it through the 5th grade. If there was one award that I was going to get at the end of the year, was perfect attendance. Knew I was going to get that. Like, my mom was really, really an advocate of me going to school. Get your butt to school. Get your butt to school. You sick? Go here. Take some tissue with you. Don't you miss that school. Don't you miss that bus. I wonder what the cost of reduced school meals is now. I can't even remember what it was then.
So to answer that one though, so it depends on the school system that you're in and all that good stuff, right? But prior to this recent attack on public schools, most schools you either had a quote unquote regular school or you had a Title I school. If you're a Title I school, it's free lunch. If it's one of the quote unquote regular schools, then your lunch is like, how much are we paying? I want to say like breakfast was like $1 and some change, and lunch was like $2 and some change, right? So that's what it was. I don't know about reduced lunch. I'm willing to bet that's largely been phased out. So it's either we're gonna feed you or we're not, right? And then if you're in a school that doesn't do free lunch, they give you those horrible sack lunches, right? You get
I remember paying $1.25 for like pizza, a side, milk.
Yeah. So about double it now.
Yeah.
Because I know we were paying something in the neighborhood of like, I'm guessing because my wife actually paid these, but I want to say it was something in the neighborhood of like $80-something a month per kid. You know, but that was because my kids were eating breakfast and lunch. You know,
Right.
So it was like $5 a day
in middle school. Yeah. But I also I use my own money sometimes to get a bagel before.
Yeah, by the time I got to high school, I would get like a donut or something.
Yeah, and I started doing that in high school. Did you ever skip school? Did you ever skip school in high school?
Marlon did.
Yep. Yep. I did. No, I did.
Marlon was at the club.
I'm sorry, what's the question?
Did you ever skip school in high school?
Oh, hell, I skipped English class to go and read the Canterbury Tales in the forest. So when the dean of the school caught me, he brought me back to the teacher, and the teacher was like, I knew she was there. Like, yeah.
That's pretty cool. You skipped school to read. That is dope.
That's what I'm saying. Even when Anna doing something wrong, it's a Hallmark movie. It is amazing.
Yeah, it's like
she skipped school to go read in the forest.
You go get Anna and have to be like,
I wasn't gonna skip out, come back in. Like, I had to waste about 40 minutes. I had a book.
You know, I have to punish you, but I just don't know how. You know,
what did you really do wrong?
Anna, what you did is unacceptable, and I'm going to have to take your books.
Put something up so you can't go into the forest, I guess. I don't even know.
But for me, I don't think, other than I did do senior skip day, but it truly didn't count because one, it's a tradition, and two, I still snuck back into the school for one of my classes. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of kid I was. I had too much fun at school. You know what I'm saying? When I was at school, I was harassing my teachers. I was cracking jokes. My whole social network is in there. You know, I'm not a competitive person, but the people that I anchored or compared myself to, they were all honors and such type students. So if I missed, I'm actually falling behind them, and I can't allow myself to be behind somebody. So it's like I never skipped school. You know, I just
see. I when I was engaged with my teachers, I was there and loved to be there. When I was bored, and this was stuff that I already knew, I had either taught myself, my parents taught me. I made deals with the teacher. Like, I proved I knew the stuff and took off.
I don't know if you can call this skipping. I guess technically it is skipping school. I know I didn't go to school the last week before graduation because I knew I already graduated. Like, so I came in Monday, got the final exam and blah, 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 and everything else, picked up my cap and gown, and then I'll see y'all Friday. I'm not going to walk around because we didn't have really classes. Like, literally, all you was going to do is go to class and then sit there and look at the teacher look at you. And then half the time, I remember that my junior year, when you already knew you passed and everything, that was the last week of school, you ain't do nothing in them classes. You sat there, or they put a movie on, or half the time the teacher wasn't even in the classroom because they knew it was boring and they had something better to do. So my senior year, when they said, "Oh yeah, you're graduating," shoot, I'll see y'all Friday, bro. I'm out. I even told my mom that when she asked me, "Why are you home? You ain't got no school." Technically, not really. Like, we ain't gonna do that. I graduated, so don't get mad at everything else. I'll say you will see me walk Friday. So she was cool with it, but I was like, I'm not gonna sit here and do nothing. Well, that
We
was the whole
always had like the major tests on like some of the last days. Like, they would not make us sit around doing nothing for a week.
Does it count as skipping if you pretended to be sick?
Yeah, because you're pretending to be sick.
If you're pretending, yeah.
No, but I'm saying, like, you pretend to be sick so your parents know you're not going to school. Like, they literally, versus your parents think you went to school and you just didn't stay. Right? Like, because, when you're a kid will pretend to be sick. A high school student will pretend to be sick. Like, that's just kind of, I think
that's skipping. You're pretending. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then in that case, I skipped school a few times.
It's just
I never like pretended like I was going.
It's like taking an indirect way to absence.
Well, here's the deal. You pretended to be sick to skip school. So yes, you skipped school.
But then I get what you're saying, but it's like, to me, there's a distinction. Because when you're 9 years old, you pretend to have a stomach ache so you can stay home and watch Price is Right and eat crackers.
Yeah.
No one calls that skipping school. They call it pretending to be sick. But when you're 16 and, so when I'm thinking about skipping school, it's you pretended like this is a normal day, right? You didn't pretend to be sick. You're actually trying to pretend like it's a normal day. You just don't end up going where you're supposed to go, right? You get there. You like some schools, you got to do like attendance in homeroom. So you get to homeroom, you do attendance, and then you just disappear.
I've done that.
Or you're supposed to be going to third period, and instead of going to your third period, you go to the small engine shop or the garage or the art class. You know what I'm saying? You go wherever your favorite teacher is, you go there. You don't go to your actual class. Like, that's skipping.
Tracy, explain to me how I skipped, but it was an accident.
What kind of skip are we talking about? Is that the like the skipping and you
It sounds
fell?
like an abduction, Tracy. What happened?
Did you?
Like, how you accidentally skip school? Yeah, Parker. Okay, Parker. I feel like it's a different category of skipping.
That's where I'm like, are you're prancing down the street and you fell?
Is no, he's talking to Thea's about is being acting pretending that you're sick is the same to not go to school still skipping. And Parker is saying I feel like it's a different category of skipping. Because what Thea's is saying is it's a difference.
Okay.
I pretended to be sick so I could stay at home, eat crackers, eat my cereal, eat 10 bowls of cereal, and look
I
at
wasn't eating no
TV
cereal.
and everything else. Compared to I'm at school.
No floating things.
Yeah, no floating things. Yeah. Compared to I went to school, and technically, Thea's you did not skip school. You skipped class. So you still was at school if you went to homeroom. You're at the school. You just skipped certain classes. And I've done that.
I'm literally. I didn't do that. Like I said, when I was in school, I had a good time. So I had no reason to do any of that. And plus, all my teachers kind of liked me. Even the ones who didn't like me, they respected me. So I could do whatever I wanted to anyway. But no, but I had friends who literally would show up for homeroom and then they would go right out the door, get in their car, and disappear.
Yep.
Yeah, the ones who had cars.
Mm-hmm.
My high school.
Not me, but yep.
Yeah, my high school. You had to either don't show up to school or stay if you went to school. You can't skip it because we have no. If we had a bus near us, bruh, after a certain period of time, probably after lunch, everybody would have been like, all right, peace, and we out. But we ain't have no city bus near us. And you ain't got no car. You might as well stay home or stay at the school. Okay, here it is. Or okay, here it goes. As a senior, we got off campus for lunch, but we went to Hardee's, but I lost track of time. I meant to go back.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah,
What?
I meant to go back.
Yeah, I'm getting a little confused there. So you went to Hardee's, and I can see that you lost track of time and went, "Oh crap, we got to get back to school."
Nah. Because think about it.
You just literally went. We late anyway, so ain't no need to go back.
Exactly. School gets out at like 2 something, 3 something.
Why
you went
would
to
you?
lunch. It's already 1:30. You were supposed to be back at school at 12:30. It's like 1:30.
Forget about it.
It's over. We just chalk it up.
Yep.
Wow. Y'all was something else. You said I was something else. Y'all was something else. Okay, Tracy, you skipped. That was no
right, Susan.
Thank you.
You skipped. Yep.
It's okay.
You
and own up
Even
to it now,
if
Tracy.
you lost track of time, that's you still have to take consequences of your actions. You skipped.
Afra, we never had that. Truancy officers.
Marlon,
if we did, they sucked at their job calls. Woo.
I don't ever remember a truancy
It
officer.
depends on where you went to school. Like, I never had truancy officers. I had police officers. I had security, right? But no one went around town trying to find people. But if you were in a really urban area, yeah, like she was saying in the city, they still had them. I don't know if they still got them. But like if they see you at the arcade, yes, I'm dating myself. They see you at the arcade and it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon or it's 10 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, excuse me.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would tell you the truth. You deserve to be caught. It was 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and you know you in the arcade. Normally, when it's, let's face it, it's damn near empty. Ain't nobody. They know what time everybody get out of school. They know what time to start sweeping and getting the place and wiping down the machines and everything, because all the kids will start coming in. Here you is at lunchtime playing Donkey Kong. Yes, I'm aging myself my own way. Playing Donkey Kong. Bruh. I'm not even going to ask you, should you be in school? I'm just going to ask you what school you at, so I can go ahead and drive you there. Cause,
and I don't mean to be, it's going to not sound so good. It's not going to sound so good. But if you spend time in the schools, it's worse now than it was when we were younger, but it's very much run like a jail, right? So I didn't know until my wife told me that I was a nerd, right? I didn't know I was a nerd, right? You know what I'm saying? But the circles I ran in, we had certain levels of freedoms and privileges, you know, so it was a different experience. But then you have your Gen Pop kids, right? And for those who don't know who Gen Pop is, general population, right? These are the ones, they might graduate or they might go to jail. You don't know, right? This is your regular track children, you know. And so you would have kids who would like skip school as a matter of course, right? They were always skipping school. Or they were always getting in trouble at school, and they would get in school suspension, or they would get out of school suspension. Like, you had those kids because school was boring, or they had personal issues, or any number of things that was going on. One of the best things that helps students, I believe, is having something you care about. So, like, if you're an athlete, you are more concerned about your coach than you are any of them teachers.
Yep.
Right. So coach says, if you don't have a C average, you can't be on this team. Guess who's not skipping school? Even if you don't do much when you're in class, you're going to be in class, because what's more important to you is that game on Friday night. Right. What's more important to you is that game on Saturday. So I think that's super important. So I'm like, either if your kid's a nerd, get them into some kind of nerdy thing that matters. You know, find a club that they're interested in, or if they're interested in music, get them in band and music. If they're into artistic things, get them into, the theater or whatever it might be going on. Get them tied into something that matters, and you have less of an issue because they don't want to sacrifice what they care about. But if you got a kid that they ain't tied to nothing, they don't do sports, they don't do academics, they don't do this, that's the one you got to worry about.
All right, everybody, pulling up Audible. We're going to skip positive story of the week because we're a little over 2 hours, and go straight into Foxy's videos of the week. And I forgot to say this at the top of the second hour. It just popped in my head. Because we have a whole bunch of viewers watching, a whole bunch of new viewers watching, and everything else. A change in the time for Saturday Night Buy starting next Saturday. Saturday Night Buy will not start at 9:00 p.m. It will start at 8:00 p.m. So to make it easy for everybody to remember, Saturday Night Vibe and Radical Truth to Power will start at the exact same time, at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Susan, I'm sure you're happy for that because we started an hour early. So that's a little early where you asked, but not by much, because it goes from 3:00 in the morning to 2:00 in the morning. So
it's 2:00 then? Susan, what time is it?
Yeah, I want to think 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. If I'm correct, it's 3:00 right now, 3:16. where Susan is. Susan, correct me if I'm wrong. I think you're 5 hours ahead of us. And I know Susan will.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and get into it. Anna, the same videos that we saw before we went on hiatus. I just wanted Thea's input on it. And I'm not going to take us down because I have to make sure I cut this video off at the right time. And don't want to watch the whole video.
Go ahead and cover me face.
Sorry. White tears.
He literally recently just posted, and the coddling is for the white boys. That's what's happening right now. I am tired of the white tears. Listen, if you are competent, you are not concerned. When I walk into Congress every single day, you know why I don't feel away and why you can't make me doubt who I am? Is because I know that I had to work 10 times as hard as they did just to get into the seat. When you look and you compare me to Marjorie Taylor Greene or me to Lauren Boebert, there is no comparison. And that is the life that we have always lived. So the only people that are crying are the mediocre white boys that have been beaten out by people that historically have had to work so much harder. This is why they don't want us to have education. Woo! This is why they are trying to literally say we won't fund the HBCUs, because they know that if they've already gone after affirmative action and they're saying, you know what, don't allow them to come into, say, these PWIs, as we call them, don't allow them to come into these institutions. We know why they created the HBCUs in the first place. It was because they wouldn't allow us into the white institutions. And so now they're not allowing us in. And now they're saying, you know what, we're also going to defund the HBCUs. You know why? Because they don't want any more Kamala Harrises. They don't want any more Jasmine Crockett's. But I got news for them. I don't care what they do. We will fight to the end to make sure that we get our due. Because again, if you want to talk about the people that shouldn't be in this country, you probably need to look in the mirror, because the last time I checked, the Native Americans who Summer ICE have been rounding up, or the Puerto Ricans who are absolutely Americans, listen, the only people that came and colonized this place are your ancestors, Trump. Woo!
You probably.
So first, I adore Jasmine Crockett. So 100% on everything she was saying. Only thing is, I once again live on a slightly different branch. Everything she said, like I said, solid, right? I mean, who am I to question what she was saying? It was great. But I study who I view to be my opponent. And this goes back to some of the things I've said tonight. You don't invest in your competition. If you view them as your competition, you don't invest in your competition. And if you're a malicious type of person or culture, not only do you not invest in your competition, you sabotage it. And that's what Jasmine was hitting on. One thing the larger white society fears is their mediocrity being exposed. So you can claim to be excellent if you handicap your competition. But each time you allow, this is why sports is so important for making such things like really stand out, right? Because once you put those 22 men on that football field, the only rules that exist are the rules for the game. Now, the referees can try to do little things here and there, but at the end of the day, if that running back hits that hole and takes off, either you fast enough to get him, or you're strong enough to get him, or you're not. Someone like Tiger Woods, even though I don't like Tiger Woods, he's lost to us, but Tiger Woods, for the longest time, they did their best to keep as many black golfers out as possible. Not because they just hate black people, because everybody who was playing golf didn't hate black people. What it was is this guy got in, and instead of him playing his role as just being a token in a white sport, he excelled. And that created a problem, because all of a sudden, almost overnight, you had black people on golf courses around the country, right? And we now have a lot of it became something that you got. So in our community, there are certain things we just don't mess with, right? By and large, hockey, golf, tennis, crew, right? These are not things that we usually get involved with. Usually when you see one of us involved in those historically, like in the last 20, 30 years, the game has changed. But historically, if you saw us in one of those, it was because we came from a middle class or upper middle class family. So we had the ability to get into a pool and learn how to swim in the first place, right? Or we were able to get a coach, or we were able to get on the golf team, right? But if you're from the inner city, it was baseball, football, basketball, right? So that's what I meant as far as like all of a sudden you had us on golf courses all around the country because we were so proud to see this man break this barrier that we all just accepted as being somewhere we shouldn't be. And so now you had little Tiger Woods all over the place, right? And that one thing that you see though is there's always like this backlash against these things because this was our space and now here you are and you're excelling and we don't like that. Because if one can do it, two can do it. If two can do it, 10 can do it. Right. Right. Lacrosse is a great one. Now you see people, black people playing lacrosse all over the place now. But we had to get into the middle class before we even realized that was a sport. You know, it was a sport. Right. Winter Olympics. How often do you see black people in the Winter Olympics? It's not because we're scared of the snow. It's because we don't live where those places are. And if we do live there, we don't have the money that it takes to participate in those sports because it's very expensive to be on the bobsled team. It's really expensive to learn how to do horse racing if you're like the horse people, the equestrian stuff. You go to college on an equestrian scholarship, that's probably not one of us. Unless you're talking about one of us who came up on some money. Right. So there are certain barriers that are put up that we kind of take for granted, but now those barriers have really become much more relaxed. But that's I'm gotten off into the weeds. What I was getting at was the society is built in such a way to make it so that the black man has to fly to get to where the white man walks.
Okay.
Right. So when she's saying we got to be 2, 3, 4 times, like we grew up. If you grew up in the Gen X era, you grew up being told constantly, you have to be twice as good. You have to be twice as smart. You have to work twice as hard just to get a chance. So we grew up with that pressure on us, right? And now you're seeing a lot more black people in higher places doing a lot of great things because we stopped hearing that. We stopped being told that. It started being, go get it. Right? So that's what Jasmine was kind of getting at. It's like literally getting rid of DEI. First of all, you made it about black and white when it was never about black and white. But that's how messaging works because it's very effective in America. If you can get it to black and white, then we can break everybody into separate camps. But getting rid of DEI was about getting rid of competition. That's all. It's easy to think it's about hate. And I caution against falling into that lazy narrative. All the people who oppose us do not hate us. I think that's super important for people to understand. Sometimes they oppose you. In many cases, they oppose you because they think opposing you is how they can help themselves. Ain't even about you. Look at how they're doing the Latinos. They're attacking the Latinos. The same way they would normally attack us. Because race is the poor man's war. That's the war we fight here at the ground level. But in your hearts, that's why you hear people do horrible things and say horrible things about different groups. But when you challenge them, they say, I'm not a racist. Because to them, they're not being a racist. To them, being a racist means using the N-word or hanging someone from a tree. That's what being a racist means to them. And anything short of that is not racism. It's just me not liking you.
Okay.
I didn't know you was gonna stop right there. I usually just put these messages up.
No, I'm with Afra. Like she just dropped bars. I'm with her.
And to answer the question, it is 4:26 where Susan is. She is 6 hours ahead of us. So that's your heart, Susan, because man, I'm sorry. And some things were over 100 years backwards.
And Afra, if I may, on that one point, I think the reason why in some areas we are quote unquote backwards is because we're still trying to be a copy of something that is not us. You'll never what is it, like a copy will never be the original, no matter how good that copy is. It'll never be the original, right? So in many cases, if you're trying to emulate or measure up to something that is not you, then you will always be one off. And oftentimes that's what I think happens with us, is we are so obsessed with whiteness as being the standard of normalcy, when actually, if you track by the history, white is a standard of degeneracy, right? It's been cruel, it's been selfish, it's been damaging. But here's the thing that I think a lot of people miss. Whiteness is synonymous with those things because whiteness has had the power.
Hold that thought.
The real problem is power. It's not whiteness.
Hold that thought, because then you rolling into my next video. So all these videos for you, we've already seen them. So we just go roll over.
I thought we were done. That's why I was running my mouth. I'm sorry.
Really? No, we got 2 more videos. But what you were saying is, literally, you're rolling into the next video. So let me go ahead and just play it.
You want me to say something? Fine. I'll say something. You people. You're not a race. You are a virus. You destroy the world. Everything beautiful you poison. You drag us from our homes. You rape our daughters, murder our sons. You crack our spines and do all you can to break our will. You stab us. Then you put the knife in our hand and tell us it's our fault. And if you don't do it yourself, you stand by, close your eyes, and pretend there's nothing wrong. And then you pray to your God to silence our screams so that you can enjoy the happiness that we built for you with our blood. But it's not your fault. It's the only way you know how to be. And the only thing that will change anything is if another virus comes along and does to you what you do to us.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't deliver it probably quite that way in mixed company, but yeah, I'm 100% there. It's just what I think, and I've kind of, I think I've had, no, it wasn't with you. I was talking with my other brothers. I think it's important and sometimes to not over personalize it, because then you end up not getting where you're trying to go, right? Being hateful is wrong, right? And the white European legacy is one of a lot of hate and cruelty. They do it to themselves, let alone other groups. So I think it's a dangerous slope when you over personalize it, because then you, in a way, mislabel what you're actually against, right? So you have my opposition is with centering a culture above all else and claiming that culture to be the definition of normal. That's my objection. That's why I say you uncenter whiteness. It's not because I'm saying whiteness in and of itself is this horrible thing, because as I just said a moment ago, whiteness is about a power construct. And since they've been the ones with the power in their hands, they've misused it, and it has become synonymous with their culture, right? But if you can uncenter them And you can understand that what they're doing is not something you want to repeat. What they've been doing is not something you want to inherit or emulate. Then you have now reached the point where you understand that their culture is not normal. Their culture is very much abnormal. You look at the culture of the people of Native America, their religions centered around the earth, the air, the water. Their gods were nature itself. You go into Central and South America before they were invaded, they had the same principles. You go into Africa before they were invaded, exact same principles. But when you go into Europe, they didn't share those principles. But they also didn't come from a land that was overly bountiful. So they had different lessons learned, and it ingrained their culture. So there's a certain part that is self-replicating and keeps things going. But there's also a part that does heal. There's also a part that does, you know what I'm saying? So I just think identify what you're against, and hopefully what you're against is against an ideology and you're against a way of being. Now let's go fight. If you were at war with a color, you will never win. Not only will you never win, you'll destroy yourself trying to do it. Right? So that's where I would say, like, I get what he was saying, because I've made a similar speech or point in my past. Because if you're keeping it at a certain level because you're trying to speak to a particular angle, then yes, you talk about how, you know, wherever the culture has gone, nothing that was there was left healthier than when it got there, right? But to call a people a virus, I don't agree with, because it doesn't allow the opportunity for a person within that person group to not be a virus.
I had an issue with his last statement, somewhat, in that you're not going to stop, and I'm paraphrasing because I can't remember exactly what he was saying, but it's something to the effect of you're not going to stop until another virus comes and stops you.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The only problem I have with that, it is not really a problem. The only issue I would have with that, so it's not something that, I'm going to get on my soapbox and talk about, is that is what white European America, leftist, rights are doing now, is pretending or a fear of that happening to them. That the minorities is going to come up and be that virus to wipe them out, not because, no, that's not true, because of what they have already done. I know it's confusing, so I'll put it to you this way. I still never got that mentality out of my head when Trump had his first term in office and he lost to Biden. And I told you I got that whatever you call it on Facebook, that post on Facebook where some guy went, okay, now we need to come back as a community and come back with unity and kumbaya and everything like that. And I'm just like, you have got to be kidding me. But he probably wasn't. He knew how toxic it was. He knew the damage has been done, who the damage has been done to, who the people who are involved to it, and he did not want to feel the same thing now that they're not in power anymore.
Well, yeah, I mean, what you're dealing with, and I think you mixed two things, but what you're dealing with is when you're in when you're out of power, you oppose power. And then when you have the power, you protect power, right? So now that we're back in power, stop fighting us, right? It was okay when you were in power, I had to fight you. But now that we're in power, we shouldn't be fighting, right? Right?
It's amazing that when they're not in power, we should be unified. When they're in power, when they're in power, it's like
there should be no opposition.
Yeah, it should be done.
Because if you believe that you're right, not only if you believe that you're right, but you believe that you're righteous, then you shouldn't have any opposition. See, go ahead.
Sorry, I really need to drop off.
Okay.
So have a great night. This was good conversation. Thank you.
We'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye.
But what I was saying, if you believe that you're right and you're righteous, then you are honor bound to oppose. So when you were not in power, your righteousness was being denied and obstructed. So you had to fight against the unrighteous. And now that you're in power, you are righteous. So there's no justifiable reason to oppose me. You're wrong. That's why you get that particular dynamic, right? The part about the virus thing that you were touching on, he was saying it would take a bigger virus. Basically, he's alluding to it would be an alien. It wouldn't be us. It's not about
oh my God. For you to say that. That's what space is for, Marlon. They are the next virus.
Exactly. Because it would take something else, right? People, I don't know. They're not afraid of us exacting revenge on them anymore. They're not. They used to be. But we've shown them that we're not interested in that. What they're doing is they're trying to control their competition. They need to keep everyone else further back. You can have a good life. You can do all these things. You can have everything you want except be equal to me. That's the mentality. Like, I think we tell ourselves that they fear us doing to them what they've done to us. But when you have a white supremacist mentality, when you have that righteousness, the delusion of righteousness, you don't think anyone ever could overtake you. Like, what? You're not, please. Right? So that's not their concern. Their concern is just making sure that you are not their direct competition. And you kind of heard it leading up to the election when they were saying, I don't remember who it was. It was one of those really racist ones, like a Fuentes or somebody. And he was like, there's a place for black people in our America. Just make sure you stay in your place. That was them telling you right there. And then you had Trump talking about black jobs. They're taking your black jobs. Right? So it's like, you are Americans. We can't, like, they're at the point where they can't even waste their time trying to argue if we're Americans. We still argue amongst ourselves, but they're not even concerned. They are like, yep, black people are Americans. In fact, to them, we're more American than Native Americans. We just got to be second-class Americans, and we refuse to accept that.
All right, everybody, let's go ahead and end this off on a good note. It was a very good show. I appreciate the show myself. If you haven't already, this is the final video of the night. If you haven't already, please go ahead and hit that like button. I would truly appreciate it. Thank you very much for coming to the show. And we will see everybody all here next week. Final video of the night, Rally.
I'm there. Let's go. He took me to this anti-gluten rally that y'all were having. Right here, I don't know what gluten is, man. Like I've been studying. I don't know. I know it's y'all up. I've lost 4 friends to bread this year. Like, this is not a game. It's not a game, and I don't know what it is. I don't, but I'm not gonna lose any more, y'all, to this because I'm woke. All right. So the day of the anti-gluten rally, Matt picks me up in this smart car. Right. Like, he's like super pumped, and you know, this is not a public rally. It's invite only. And I knew it was invite only because on the flyer, it was just a piece of toast with an X on it. Right? So we driving around trying to figure out what this anti-gluten rally is, and that's when I saw it. I knew I was there because I've never seen white folks this angry. I've never seen you all just so passionate about anything. It was just like, no justice, no peace. We dying from this yeast. No justice, no peace. We dying from this yeast. I'm like, we here. We are at the anti-gluten rally. And y'all had so many disrespectful signs that y'all made. Like, I saw a sign that said, I can't wheat. Right? And I was like, you know. Another one said, hands up, don't glute. Right? And it was a little white kid with a loaf of bread above his head. And I said, hey, we gotta go. Okay? Like, get this mark on. This is not a real thing. Okay? We couldn't leave. The anti-gluten rally got broken up by these protesters who were pro-bread, right? They were pro-white bread, and I knew they were pro-white bread because they had these red baseball caps that said, make America bake again, right? So, when the leader came out, and I saw that hand go up, and I was like, shit, don't say it. Don't say it. And he was like, white flower! White flower! I'm gonna just say this, man. As a Southsider born and raised in this great city of Chicago, okay? I've seen a lot of messed up things. Very few jobs, very few resources. So to see you all be decimated by pumpernickel is... that's a lot. Y'all, thank y'all so much.
I have mixed feelings.
I knew you would.
But it's comedy, so I just let it ride.
Yeah, I twitched a little bit on the white flower thing. Like, I ain't gonna lie about
that
that.
part didn't bother me. Bothered me was hands up, don't glute. So like that, you're literally using the death of someone real, for your punchline.
Yeah.
That I didn't like. But like I said, it's comedy. So he was almost an equal opportunity offender, right? Because the white flower thing was kind of hilarious. The way he was talking about how, yeast is like killing off all the white people, you know what I'm saying? So it's like he was insensitive to both sides, I guess. So you got to take comedy for comedy. So there are it was like I could almost find it entertaining, but I never could quite get to funny.
All together in a mix, it was funny to me. But I would have to look at it all together. That if anything, I make sense because it's late now, so I know it ain't gonna make sense.
No, I get
all together. It makes sense. If I break it down, it just wasn't funny. I know what you're saying about hands up. I get that. My problem was with the white flower thing. It's just like,
why?
Because I know what the takeoff of that statement was white power, and
right.
I know
I get the history, different pieces, but yeah, I'm with
you. So I can't get that out of my head. Like, and you started off with that salute, so I'm like,
yeah. So
I get what you're trying to do, bruh, but that didn't get to me. That didn't get to my funny bone because I know the history behind that salute and the history of what that statement was.
Yeah. So if I was going to dig into it though, fam, because I agree with you, I do. And I do get where you're coming from. Like, different things trigger different people, right?
Yeah.
For me, it was making light. It's one of the reasons why I stopped finding Steve Harvey entertaining, right? If you are telling a joke about your own people to make other people who are not part of your people group laugh, I then have a problem, right? So you are a black man telling a joke about the death, murder of someone in your own community in hopes of making the white community laugh. I have a problem with that. Like when Steve Harvey said, well, I don't give about no slave. I have a problem with that because the audience you were talking to, the audience you were trying to entertain, were laughing at the plight of your own people, right? But that's on a serious level. And then like what you were touching on, with the salute and the flower thing, I find that to be offensive, but I find it to be offensive in a different way because that's not my people group, right? So for me, that was just in bad taste. I can't be offended for what you say about Jewish people. I can say it's wrong and I will not laugh at it, but it's not going to hit me the same way as you making light of what happened to Mike Brown, right? So that's why it's like you got to take comedy for comedy though, because he hit like wherever you sit at, he hit you too, right? Like he was going at everybody. So
and I'm not even. So what Susan said, I see it as satire. It literally was satire because I see what Theus is saying, and I'm sure everybody else do. They see what I said, and I hope everybody else did too. There is somebody out there who flat out do not think you're making a joke about gluten. Gluten is not a joke. How dare you make a joke about gluten? So everybody is going to have an issue with something being said in this thing. I thought, in a whole, it's funny. But I guarantee you, there is absolutely no way I was ever going to go to a comedy show ever and do not find something wrong with what they said. It's nearly, for me, it's nearly impossible.
Well, that's why I say you got to let comics be comics.
Yeah.
Right. Their job is to, in many cases, to walk that line because they're using those things to make you think about yourself, to really look at things. There's a lot. So like what Susan said right there is so perfect.
Yeah.
She's laughing at her own people when she sees that video. Right. Because you think about it. I think a really great example is Dave Chappelle. I think Dave Chappelle is hilarious. Right. But I don't like all of his jokes, but I think he's hilarious. I think he's an intelligent dude. He's a very, but if I was a member of the trans community, when he had that part of his set that was talking about that, where I found it to be an endearing kind of almost funny, but tasteless joke, if I was actually a part of that community, I would have been just like I was about this with the Mike Brown reference, right? Because I know what's underneath that thing that you are using as a part of your joke. So when the trans community got really upset, it made sense to me. I couldn't fully follow it, but I definitely could understand why. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's like this. If this was a white comic that was doing the exact same set, I probably would have found it more entertaining. It's because of how I have my own biases and my own sensitivities about my community that I couldn't get past the fact that this was a black man telling those particular jokes. But I could still say, zoom out, he's a comedian, and I get what he's doing.
And again, what I was saying was, no, I agree with everything you're saying, Theo. I'm not going against you on this. I guarantee you there's not a comedian that I'm going to listen to that I'm not going to be offended by something they say. Because in comedy, they're taking reality, real world events, life, whatever, and trying to make it funny. They have to do that to speak to their audience. I mean, if you're a real comedian, that's what you do. If you look at Dave Chappelle, I can't watch his stand-up. I don't know. To me, he's not funny as a stand-up. Dave Chappelle's show was freaking hilarious to me. But in a whole, if you really break it down, there was a lot of offensive things on his show.
Well, he's a shock comment.
Yeah. So I see what it is to do the things that he do, because again, up until he left the show, I didn't miss an episode of Dave Chappelle.
And see, I didn't overly enjoy the Dave Chappelle show, because like one of the things that people really liked was the crackhead character. Never liked it.
Yeah, I never did like
Never liked it. But some of the other stuff was just hilarious. So it's like, that's what I'm saying. You take these comedians and you understand the art that they're in. And I think that gives them a lot of license, and it has to. You know, for example, here's a great one. Jeff Foxworthy. He doesn't do like now he does like family comedy, right? But he's directly talking to the white community. He's not like talking to us. We just find it hilarious because he's doing human level experiences that a lot of us can relate to, but we know that he's talking about redneck culture, right? So I'm just saying, like, it's you have to take these people for what their art is. And so you have like Jeff Foxworthy, who does that type of comedy. You got D.L. Hughley, who does the same kind of comedy, but he does it on our side, right? And then you got Dave Chappelle, who I don't know what he does. He's all over the place. So, yeah. You know,
Man,
some people like rock and roll. Some people like R&B.
If you want to feel offended, and I'm not saying that I'm offended. Like I said, if I was offended, it's my show. I wouldn't have put it on here if I was really offended by it. Like I said, the whole skit was funny as crap. The timing of him doing the stand-up and the video was excellent. I don't even know how the hell you edit something like that. But
he planned it out. It was like an Onion type of video. It was really well done.
It was great. But I don't want nobody to take this away from all the comedians. The council culture, if you want to think way back, the council culture did not start with the people. It started with comedians. It started with, that's not funny, that's offensive. That's not funny, that's offensive. That's not funny, that's offensive. And comedians was starting to fight back, like, I can't do comedy anymore. And it's like, you can do comedy. You said Steve Harvey. I don't know when the last time I heard Steve Harvey. And even if I did listen to Steve Harvey, I guarantee you it was a Strawberry Letter, and then I'm freaking done. I'm serious. That was literally the only thing on his radio show that I listened to.
And that's the one thing on his show I wouldn't listen to.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you the one thing on this show that I never listened to. Nephew Tommy's prank calls. I thought that was abhorrent.
I would literally listen to that. I didn't really enjoy them, but I was more of a Tom Joyner morning show kind of guy. But I would listen to Nephew Tommy before I would listen to Strawberry Letter, because to me, Strawberry Letter is like listening to Breakfast Club or listening to Jerry Springer or something like that. It's like you're taking the absolute depths of dysfunction and sending it back out as though I'm supposed to be entertained by that, when I know that you're picking on the most dysfunctional part of my community and passing it off as though it's real, when many times it's really just, you know, comedy wrapped up in a story. You know, I just, you know how I am about that type of stuff. So,
but that's what I'm saying. That's what I did like about Nephew Tommy's prank jokes. It's still the same thing. You call and you make the most abhorrent, toxic statement that you can to somebody who's off guard, and you call it comedy. Yeah, bro, I've been sleeping with your. The what I remember was, are you engaged to such and such? Yeah. That's my brother. What? She said
it was the Strawberry Letter and Nephew Tommy was the same thing.
It's not funny to me. And I think back to, and I'm not picking on Nephew Tommy. It a funny thing about it, Nephew Tommy is actually funny as crap. I've seen one of his shows before. He's funny as crap. I just never like prank phone calls. It just bothers me so much that you think saying something so toxic to someone over the phone and their reaction to what you're saying and call it comedy.
No, I agree.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I agree.
Like they're reacting exactly the way they should act.
Only one of you knows it's a joke right now.
Yes. They're reacting exactly how they should react to somebody getting a phone call like that. If you call somebody and say, "Oh, I just stole your car and drove it off a bridge," and they lose their shit, haha, I'm just joking.
Yeah. But
that
is the dysfunction of the human condition. And because that's how Jerry Springer goes, that's how a lot of the Reddit stories go. That's all of this stuff. It's all about finding humor in someone else's misfortune and being able to say, well, at least that ain't me. That's what so many different genres that we absorb is really. That's all it really is. And I thank you because there's no way in hell I would normally absorb any of these Reddit stories. But you have helped me be less serious about every damn thing. Right? because I take everything too serious. Like I don't know how to draw back in many cases. So I'm either really silly, but when I'm silly, it's about something completely unrelated to reality, or I'm extremely serious. Right? So no, I still don't enjoy Reddit stories, but some of them can be entertaining and it helps me pull away from, that headspace.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I get it. Everybody has a different flavor, but like you said, I never really enjoyed the Nephew Tommy thing. I definitely didn't enjoy Strawberry Letter. I never enjoyed Jerry Springer or any of the shows that were like Jerry Springer. I didn't like any of those. It's just not the thing that I enjoy.
You are not the father. Who was that?
Yeah, it's like people wanted to see the reaction of her being wrong, and then she had to go do the whole weird. So it's just people like to see that.
What's so weird about me is, you know what cut me off of watching that? Maury, that's his name, Maury Povich. Then it just went down to Maury. I'm gonna tell you what turned me off on that show is you talk about real or nah. Well, I'll never forget this freaking episode. This woman was on like 3 times because she had a child. She went on an escapade of sleeping with any and everybody. So I think it was like 7 guys, if I'm thinking correctly. And she had, at the very least, she did 2 guys that she assumed was it, and you're not the father, and you're not the father. And of course, she runs to the back and everything. And an epiphany popped in my head. And I went, why the hell nobody ever locked that damn back door? Like, that's where they're going to run. So,
like going to the circus, bro.
Yeah. And it was like, I can't do this no more. I really can't. I can't do this no more. It's not funny. But let's go ahead and get up out of here. One last comment. Trey Crowder, the liberal redneck, he makes fun of the culture he grew up in, but he does it with the understanding is where he comes from.
Yeah, I don't have no problem with that.
No, I have no problem with him.
With the comedy bit, where you had the rub with me was because of who was telling the story and the elements in it. But I knew that but I could also see the humor. I could.
Yeah, like I said, in a whole, it was funny, but just if you break it down, you're gonna be offended by something, but everybody could. Theas, tell everybody where they can find you.
Best place to find me is right here. Yeah, this is the best place to find me.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, non-conforming individuals, and of course,
I'm assuming you're LGBTQ.
I appreciate Anna. I appreciate Thea's. Remember that Saturday Night Vibe is next Saturday at 8 p.m., not 9 p.m. So until next time, we will see you when we see you. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in and the great participation.
It was, woo, that was a really good show. Sorry. That's going down in history. That was a really good episode. So thank you all that came out. Appreciate it. And until next time,